What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. This is Power Ranking. You are tuned into Power Ranking, not the word you was thinking when I first said that. A brand new show where we rank teams, players, and performances based on current form, stats, and the impact in the most recent fixtures, obviously in relation to Manchester United, because this is a Manchester United fan channel. So, for anyone who hasn't seen this show before, it's a new take on pros and cons, and basically what we do is we have teams that are involved in the game. So obviously yesterday you had Bournemouth versus Manchester United. We will speak about both of them teams and where they currently rank. And then we have the three worst players and the three best players. And then we have your take on it towards the end as well, in terms of if there's any kind of wild cards or just anything like that at all. I'm certainly open to discussing. But this one was a tricky one because obviously losing 3-0 to Bournemouth at home, I don't think anyone's played amazingly, have they? But you still have a couple of standouts who are still doing their thing, and then you have a couple of players who may have dropped down into the negative rankings, or just had one bad individual performance, or there's a reason behind their performance. So what I'm going to try and do is offer context as to why I've gone with these players. And we start off with the teams first and foremost. So let's just talk about Manchester United, shall we? Oh my God, I don't know where to begin with this team, genuinely. There was things I felt we could take away from the derby: resilience, fight, quality in moments. Even the Spurs game, coming back from 3 despite the mistakes, you could see certain patterns of play. And then Bournemouth was a real stark reality check that a lot of these players are just not good enough. Now, I put a couple of things on X before that I felt like, I just put a list up and I said, this is a list of things that Man United need to improve on. And the list could have, kept going on and on and on and on. And what I put down was set pieces, IQ in front of goal, individual mistakes, dressing room culture, a lot of average players, weak mentality, overhyping players, player agenda, mobility and pace in certain areas. And you can keep going. You can keep going and going. You can't trust a lot of the players. Issues internally dealing with, like the Marcus Rashford one, which is just grabbing all the headlines at the moment. A big squad overhaul is needed in the summer. And I know we feel like we say that every single year. I remember saying it when Rangnick was here, getting to the end of that season, saying, well, we need to move on Cavani. Mata's getting old now. We need to shift him out. We need to move Jesse Lingard. And you go through it. There was about 10 players that needed to move on. And quite a big chunk of those did move on. But I think what you're seeing now is, I think it's coming to light, obviously, that the players that Ten Hag was pushing for and recruiting for has had a big kind of, maybe a couple of them he didn't recruit. So Casemiro, for example, was a bit of like that was just a legacy of Murta and Richard Arnold, I think. But obviously, Antony's one as big issues, the wages that he's on, the price that he cost. Zirkzee is another one who he recruited, but was that, did Ten Hag push for that, or was that an Ineos one, in which case he needs to have conversations? I'll speak about Zirkzee shortly. But you can go through a list of, Lissandro isn't looking great at the moment. There's a lot of players there that have been recruited under Ten Hag. £600 million spent, and you're looking at, you're like, where are they? Where are they? Mount's always injured. You spent another £60 million on him. Big question marks, and a lot of the players that he bought didn't work out. So now it's like, okay, well, we spent $600 million. That hasn't worked. Let's spend another $600 million. It's not going to work like that. But that is one of the key things Ineos need to get right in the summer, especially. The recruitment has got to be good. It's got to be good. Because where we are right now in the table is the reality of how, if people thought these players were really good before, this is the reality right now that we're living in. 13th in the table. We're just above West Ham and Everton. Just deep that for a second. They're not good enough. Big names. There's probably 3 or 4 players I would keep and build around. And that's it. I could guarantee I would definitely keep and I would start. And that's Yoro, Mazraoui, Ugarte, Ahmad. And Mainu. I took Mainu in there as well. 5 players that I think you could build around. The rest, I'm like, let's see. De Ligt's had a good start to the season, but let's see how he improves. Lissandro, not good enough at the moment. I think Onana, there's question marks, making mistakes. Malacia, huge question marks on him. Dalot, I don't think will ever be good enough. I think he just does the same things every single game and stresses the life out of me. Højlund, too young and raw. Zirkzee, not good enough. Bruno, it's like Jekyll and Hyde, and you never know what to think with Bruno Fernandes, to be honest with you. And you can go through. You go through the full squad. A lot of these players are not good enough, and that is the simple fact. Now, we discussed the other team. Bournemouth, on the other hand, what an absolute rise they've had. I tell you what, when you watch them yesterday, obviously I've watched them this season. I watched them beat City. I watched them beat Arsenal. Like, they've had some really, really good performances. A very well-coached team. Their whole team cost around £130 million, the squad that lined up against us yesterday. Halfway through the season, they're currently 5th. They're above Newcastle, Spurs, Villa, Brighton, and Manchester United with the resources that they've got. That is an unbelievable job. The manager is taken from being relegated to being one of the best coached teams in the Premier League. That's how I feel about him, genuinely. One of the best coached teams in the Premier League. Bournemouth, with all due respect, a very small club. But the way they play football, the way they press, the way they shift it about, honestly, so organised, so good. Great recruitment as well. A lot of the young players mixed. It's like a good blend of young players mixed with experienced players. And it's weird because you look at it like that's what United need. You're comparing, when you compare it in terms of stature and size, Man United and Bournemouth are like no way near each other. But when you compare them as a team, how they're coached, how they play, again, that's night and day. Bournemouth play much better football than us, much better. We want that high intensity, that high press, but you need certain profiles to do that. And that's why that goes back to what I was alluding to before about certain players not being good enough or not. I mean, you look at Bournemouth's team yesterday, you look at some of the players in there, some of them haven't even got international caps. And they're playing like they are. So, obviously, Iarola's been there for a good few years now, so he's had time to imprint his style. You know, you look at Amarin, let's say if he's in 2-3 years, it's not going to be the same football that we see today, or I'd highly doubt it. So, yeah, obviously Bournemouth climbed the ranks in respect to that, but yeah. My Damn United, good afternoon, Nick. Merry Christmas to you, Sam, and everyone. Merry Christmas to you as well, brother, I hope. I hope you have a really nice Christmas. Hope you get all the presents that you want and the food, and you have a good New Year as well. We're looking to hit 10k by the start of the new year. If we could do that, I mean, what a way, right, to go into the new year. We are 342 subs off it. So if there is anyone new, whether you watch this live or later on, please do it. That subscribe button, people. Charlie's saying we lost. It was another strange game. We had 2 of them in a row where we're much better than both. Spurs and Bournemouth. We struggled to finish. 75% possession and you lose 3-0. It's crazy, innit? Absolutely crazy. Let's dive into individual players then, people, because I feel like this is where the ranking gets interesting. Joshua Zirkzee was first on my list, and I'm sure he was first on a lot of people's lists. Couldn't hold the ball up at any given point. We tried playing it up the pitch. When we was under it a little bit, let's say when Bournemouth had a 10-minute spell where it was like, okay, let's get it up the pitch, let's start retaining possession now. He couldn't hold it up. Couldn't hold anything that was played into him. Was that fault for their first goal? The marking on the defender wasn't great. I mean, for such a big lad, he is shocking in the air. He's honestly, what is he, 6'3", 6'4", probably? I know they're centre-back 6'5", who I'm a big fan of, by the way. I would certainly look at him as a target. I've heard stuff about him from a lot of analysts and scouts talking about, is it Housen or Huysen? I don't know how to pronounce his name. But obviously came over from Juventus. He looks like a player, and very young as well. He's like 19, 20. Certainly someone I would be definitely identifying. But anyway, Zirkzee not doing his job on that corner, and again it comes down to set pieces and marking again. It's just not good enough. No way near good enough. He's way too slow. You know, when you get a bit of a counter attack or it does get played in behind, you see him running. It's like you might as well put Eriksen up top. It's like he's got lead in his boots. He's way off it. Touch was off. Not even like necessarily holding it up, but when it's fizzed into him at times, it's a little bit rough and around the edges. Can't remember him having a single shot on goal. I don't know if you guys can. Really, really poor for Mr. Carlito. Wasn't great at all. And it's weird because sometimes he comes on and you think, right, he's had a good cameo, should I say. Let's build on this now. And then he starts a game and he puts in a stinker like that, and you're like, oh well, obviously we can't trust these players. They're capable of showing a good 20 minutes, and then it's like, oh, no, back to usual again. Never mind. Anyway, on to the next one. Harry Maguire. It's a strange one because after singing his praises in the derby, because I thought he locked down Erling Haaland, I thought he was really, really good in that game. The first half yesterday, and people will, I feel like people are just going to say he had a good game because of that flick he done for Malacia, which was very inventive and very good for a centre back to do. But that doesn't, that doesn't tell you everything he done. I felt like he rolled back the years under Ole a bit in the first 45 yesterday. Very clumsy, tripping over his own feet. 1 out of 5 ground duels, 2 out of 6 long balls, 2 fouls, possession lost 11 times, dribbled past a few times easily as well. Wasn't great yesterday. And this is like, with United players, I feel like fans and just people who watch football in general, they fall into a bit of a lull when a player has a good game. And we start putting these players on pedestals and saying, give them contract extensions. And I've been, not a victim of that, but I've done that before myself. I said after the derby, I'd probably give Maguire a contract. I'd probably do this. But now I'm sat there and thinking, after that performance, I don't know. I just don't know. You never know. We are perfectly the Forrest Gump analogy, aren't we? When you just never know what you are going to get with this group of players. And that's why it's so hard being a supporter. And I mentioned this on the post-match review yesterday. These players are capable of turning up in big finals, and they've done it in the FA Cup. They beat the best team in the world at the time in the final. We knocked Liverpool out of the FA Cup. They're capable of putting on a performance like that. But then when they're capable of putting on, back-to-back losses at Old Trafford to Bournemouth, both 3-0, there's so many question marks. It's so bizarre that it's just the weirdest group of players ever. And like I said, trust is a big word, and trust is earned, and they haven't earned that. On to the next one. Now, some people might think this is a little bit harsh. I think it was a toss-up between Kobbie Mainoo and Malacia, because I didn't think Mainoo had a great game yesterday. But, I don't know. It's with both of them. Malacia's just coming back from injury, and Mainoo's young. So it was like, which I thought Mainoo had parts of the game where he was dribbling past players. I think he dribbled past more players than anyone on the pitch 4 or 5 times successfully. So he did have good moments in the game, whereas Tyrone Malacia felt like really, really struggled yesterday. 1 out of 5 ground duels, 2 fouls, 1 error leading to a shot, not offering enough going forward, no crosses into the box, all dangerous kind of overlapping runs. Maybe there was a couple that I missed out. Got hooked at half-time. Now, I'm not sure if that was anything to do with an injury. I haven't seen anything on that personally. Unless you guys have seen anything, please do let me know. But I don't know. I just watched him yesterday. I felt like he's not giving it minute where we could be like, okay, this is the guy you can start. Yeah, definitely. I think, no, we still need to recruit in that area. And if you want to have him as a second choice, then potentially I would be open to it. But, yeah, I felt like he struggled yesterday. And he wasn't the only one. There's a big pool of players, but they're the 3 players I've gone with: Malacia, Maguire, and Zirkzee. But there's a few that could get in there, and I think there's going to be one controversial one in the positive section. But wait until we get to that. Now, by any stretch of the imagination, wasn't amazing. Wasn't like the performance he had in the derby, or even when he came on against Spurs. But regardless, he's still one of our most effective players by a million miles. Didn't have his shooting boots on yesterday. Has to be said, plenty of good opportunities where it was like on the edge of the box, and I felt like every single one of his shots went onto one of Elon's fucking satellites. It was miles away. When there were good areas of the pitch, it would have been, good XG rating. But even still, 4 key passes from Ahmad yesterday, 4 successful crosses, won 50% of his ground duels. And I hope he continues to bring this kind of relentless attitude. And no matter what, I'm going to absolutely graft for the team. I'm going to give everything on the pitch, because Man United can zap it out of you. You can see players come in, do really well, and then the United stink, as we all call it. It grabs all of them, done it, and drags them down, and you feel like, oh, well, yeah, that's it now. He's cursed for the rest of his United career. I hope it doesn't come to that. I say the same thing with Yoro, Maz, and a few others. Fingers crossed, because Ahmad is our best player at the moment, and it's as simple as that. A very close second, though, is Manuel Ugarte, who gets the similar rating to Ahmad. Outstanding again for me. Was probably even better than Ahmad, to be fair, in this game. Maybe I should have given him a 7.5 or an 8. I didn't like the fact that he got subbed, but because he was on a yellow card, you kind of understand it. 23 out of 26 passes complete, 2 out of 3 long balls complete, 3 out of 5 ground duels, hardly lost possession, very smart on the ball, takes it under pressure in very tight areas. The more I watch the guy, the more I like him. Very, very important to the system, and we do not have another player like him. If he was to get injured now, I think that would be one of the biggest hits to the team, because he's super important in that role. I don't think anyone could do it as good as him, not even close. Not challenging the Bournemouth player on that free kick. That was a closed eyes header right there. De Ligt missing in the team and we become very bad. It's clear De Ligt does a lot more than just defending. Yeah, that's an interesting conversation, that, isn't it? I think, Charlie, for sure, about Matthias De Ligt. He's gone under the radar, hasn't he, to be fair, when we do these kind of... And maybe, again, I've been a little bit kind of criminal of this, not featuring him in these kind of things. Obviously, he didn't play yesterday, so I can't do that. But, yeah, the first couple of weeks were shaky on the 10, but I think since Amrin's come in, I think he's been pretty solid. And like I said, with Maguire, what the things that I've already spoken about, I think him and De Ligt, I think you got to put De Ligt in there, haven't you? I think De Ligt, Euro, and I'd have Mazraoui there in your back three, personally. But then it's like, who do you put a wing back? And then it's weird, isn't it? I don't know. I'm just muddled up in my head about this team, genuinely. But Manuel Ugarte, not going off the point too much. Super, super important player. The question I would throw back to you guys is, how do you feel about the Kobe and Ugarte partnership? Do you think that can work? Do you think there's some teething issues currently at the moment? If you'd like to see someone else in there, or you would go into the market, maybe get an Edison from Atalanta, would that be better, and then maybe push Kobe up further? Or can he adapt into this role? Just something to leave you guys with. Answers on a postcard. Steph is in the chat. Hello, Steph. Merry Christmas. Steph? I said Steph then. Steph. Merry Christmas. I hope you're okay. I hope you have a good New Year as well. United players can't do the basics: passing, shooting, heading, appalling. Who was it who said... was it David Moyes back in 2014 who said... Oh, what was it now? We can't pass. We need to work on shooting, passing, defending or something. And it was like, oh, so all aspects of the game then, is it? I think we're at that point again. That was 10 years ago when David Moyes said that. And we're still here. Okay, should I get into the last player in the positive ranking? Right, let's go. Let's do it. Bruno Fernandes. Okay. I'm going to caveat this with, I know he's getting a lot of hate at the moment, and I know it's the usual stuff, which I understand. I think this picture, by the way, is a visual representation of what people get annoyed with sometimes. The whinging, the moaning. He does give it away. He does give it away too much for my liking. But if you look at anything decent we did yesterday, it pretty much came through him. He was the nucleus of the good attacking moments. 3 shots on target, should have converted 1 or 2 of them, for sure. 3 out of 6 crosses, 4 out of 6 long balls, 13 ground duels, won 6 of them, and was fouled 3 times. Like, the volume is mad in comparison to other players. You can see why coaches go for him a lot, but sometimes it's overdone. He overcooks it. And I know he's erratic. I know, like I said, he gives the ball away. But remember, this is just purely the Bournemouth game. So if my 3 players that are in the top ranking, Amad, Ugarte, then Bruno, who yesterday had a better game than them? Go through the team and really think about it. Kobe didn't. Kobe wasn't great. Malacia wasn't great. Dalot doing the same things that Dalot does. He was all right, but again, still has errors in his game. Maguire, definitely not. Lissandro, maybe I could have chucked him in there. There's a debate to be had. But Lissandro, you look at the 3rd goal, I think yesterday, where he's playing everyone on side. You look at some individual battles that he lost. Mazraoui gave away the penalty. So, he looks a bit tired and a bit off it. Onana letting 3 goals, so you can't give it to... Do you know what I mean? Like, you go through the full team and you're like, yeah. Maybe you do give it to Bruno Fernandes. But that's what you guys are here for. Challenge me on it. This is the debate segment. Any controversial shouts, any wild card shouts that you would have put in personally from United. Out of the 3 players that I've included in the positive section, who would you take out? Out of the 3 players that I've included in the negative section, who would you take out? Let's have a recap so I can refresh your memories. So, in the negative section, we had Joshua Zirkzee. We had Harry Maguire. We had Tyrell Malacia. in there. In the positive section, we had Amad Diallo, Manuel Ugarte, and Bruno Fernandes. That is the power ranking for the game yesterday, people. I want to hear opinions. And also let me know what you are all doing for Christmas as well. What are your plans? I'll tell you the plans for the channel whilst you're typing or whatever. So, obviously, we play Wolves on Boxing Day. So, I feel like we'll probably do the preview tomorrow on Christmas Eve. Christmas Day is Christmas Day. But to be honest, knowing what I'm like, I'll probably end up doing a live on Christmas Day anyway. I wouldn't expect anyone to tune in because they're doing the Christmas, spending time with the family. You don't want to be watching this when you're spending time with your families, do you? But some people out there, it might just be, might not have a family with them or might be on their own and they might just want something to watch. I think, that's probably important then. Even if there's 2 people watching, it's that's fine. I'll probably still go live on Christmas. Boxing Day we'll have the game, so we'll be live pre-match and post-match for that. I think we could do pre-match. Post-match, we'll discuss. But then you've got so many games coming up. You've got Newcastle after that. You've got the New Year, which hopefully will hit 10k by. And when we do hit 10k, we've got a couple of ideas in the pipeline. So we've spoken to a couple of people. We want to do some merchandise ideas. And yeah, there's going to be like a big video based around that and based on the come-up to where we first started to where we are now. So over this next week or two, and it's going to be some interesting things dropping on the channel. That's all I'll say. But please do turn on that notification bell and subscribe to the channel if you can. Martinez, he needs a break. Twice he's done a mistake now. The pen situation, yeah, but that free kick was a complete disaster. But we dominated them but couldn't finish. Lisandro Martinez, if you want a hot take, I don't think he will be in the team in a year's time. Or at least a regular. Don't see it. Really don't see it. I think he plays there at the moment because we haven't really got an alternative option. But if you said to me now, would you go and sign that Huijsen from Bournemouth or Brandflakes, or if there's other ones that are probably out there that you can go and get, I want a strong, tall, quick defender who's great on the ball in that area. And, particularly left-footed, that'd be great. Brandflakes fits perfectly into that category. Let's see what happens with Everton. And they've got new owners that are taking over now. I know it's gone a bit quiet on Brandflakes, and maybe that was an Ashworth kind of signing, and maybe they go away from that. But that profile, I'll say, is the one I want to go for. I look at that area, the channel defending, and Lisandro. He's great on the ball. Taking it under pressure, progressing, fantastic. Off the ball is a lot of work to be done. And you can't really improve his size, strength, or speed. Not something you can do. So he will always, especially after his injuries as well, he will always stay at this level. And that's what I struggle with. I felt like before his injuries, he was fine. That first 6 months in the first season with Rafael Varane, insane, incredible. Now I'm not too sure. I think it needs to be question mark. So you all make very, very good points in there. Listen, let's see what happens at Molineux. I'm looking at the next 4 games, and I'm like, I don't know how many points Man United are going to get from that, genuinely. I think maybe 1 at an absolute push. Maybe. I mean, let me just put these on your screen for you, if I can. Just say this quickly. So, put that in downloads. These are our next 6, I want to say. Should have banged this on before I came on, to be fair, but it's alright. We can live edit because I'm a wizard like that. Let me put this on screen. Yeah, come on. So they are our next 6 fixtures. Wolves, Wolves at Molineux, Newcastle at home, Liverpool at Anfield, Arsenal at the Emirates in the FA Cup, Southampton at home, Brighton at home. How many points do we take from that, do you think? I think Wolves, new manager at Molineux, I think they come away with a draw there. Newcastle are in really good form at the moment. The past couple of games, Tonali and Guimaraes are starting to click. Isaac's in hot form. Gordon and Jacob Murphy looking dangerous on the wings. The pace and the threat they offer. I think we could lose that game. I think Liverpool at Anfield, you watched them against Tottenham yesterday. Oh my God. We got beat off a second string Tottenham team. They've just smashed Spurs. you dread to think what's going to happen at Anfield there. That could be an embarrassment. Arsenal at the Emirates, again, is such a tough game. Probably get knocked out of the FA Cup. And then you probably get your safety win with Southampton, which isn't a given. But it's one you look at and you think, well, if we're going to get 3 points anywhere, Jesus. Elite baller! What are we saying, brother? Nice to see you back in the... Where have you been? Where have you been? My God, it's been a hot minute. I hope you're good. Which player had the most shots for Man United versus Bournemouth? Are you on about for Man United or for Bournemouth? Are you talking about lineups? Probably, I'm guessing Diallo or Bruno. Yeah, it was Bruno Fernandes, wasn't it, to be fair? I was looking at his stats this season, actually. 4 goals and 5 assists in the Prem. But in all comps, let's have a look. 10 goals and 2 assists in all comps, but in 26 games. Is that it? Oh, no, 6 goals and 10 assists. I'm going to say 2 yellow cards it was. 1 red card as well, of course, against Spurs. Wolves got a manager bounce. Newcastle, we do not beat them. We get 6 points. We'll beat Southampton and Brighton. Stop looking too far ahead one game at a time. Are you getting nervous, Steph? Bruno had the same amount of shots as Højlund and actual Zirkzee Diallo combined. Yeah, his volume, I get it. His volume annoyed people. I understand it. Bruno had 7 shots. Ahmad had 3. 7. Oh my God. Wow. Crazy. But look, this is, I think we all are under no illusion that this is going to be a good season, are we? We all understand it's going to be tough. It's going to be a long road, and it's difficult to get that message through to United fans and say it's going to be, the next 6 months is going to be tough, and you have to have patience, and it's going to take time. And you heard the same things under Erik ten Hag. You heard the same things under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You heard the same things under Mourinho, and so on. And to be honest, as a United fan sat here right now, I am just fucking tired of just seeing the same shit. You've got different coaches coming in and it's not working. It's clearly the players are not good enough. So get rid of the players. Whoever it is, if you want to get rid of Marcus Rashford, do it. If you need to get rid of Bruno Fernandes, do it. If you need to get rid of some big players in order to move forward, do it. Because at this point, I don't care. Keep the talented players, keep the young stars, get some experienced players in, and start to build, man. Start to build towards what you want to see in your future. Because I think that's where we're at in a minute. I think there's a lot of players with big question marks around them. But yeah, I appreciate all your analysis. I appreciate everyone joining in. Like I said, whether it's live, I know some people are working, so they can't tune in. But I still want to hear your opinions on the power ranking situation. So on the teams, on the players, and any wildcard takes as well, or any changes you would make personally for the Wolves game. We'll have the Wolves preview for you guys tomorrow. If none of you tune in before Christmas, hopefully you all have a really good Christmas. If you don't celebrate it, then just have a nice day, I suppose. But hopefully you all get what you want. If you've got kids, I hope they're happy. I hope your family's happy. I hope you all have a nice meal. And yeah, let's go into this new year with hopefully a smile on our face. Hopefully United improve, but I'm not going to hold my breath in relation to the teams. So yeah, if you can, smash a like on the video for us. Hit that subscribe button, because this is where we're at in a minute. 9658. So close to 10k, people. So close. And it's because of you lot. And a lot of yous have been tuning in for years now, I feel like, almost. So the loyalty is extremely appreciated. And you'll see that paid back when we get to 10k. So all you guys, enjoy the rest of your day.